The tiles are cold. Kael's knees hit the black and white checkered floor, and the impact sends a shock through his thighs that makes his breath catch. His apron, red, stained darker now, clings to his stomach where the wetness spreads. He can't tell if it's sweat or blood anymore. Both, probably. The fabric sticks to the bruise beneath, the one that pulses with each heartbeat like a second clock ticking inside his ribs. Get up! His boss's voice cuts through the noise of the diner. Clinking plates, the hiss of the fryer, someone's laughter from booth 7. You're making a scene. Kael tries. His palms press flat against the floor, slick with something he doesn't want to name. His legs won't cooperate. They're shaking, knees locked at an angle that sends fire up his spine. He opens his mouth to speak, but what comes out is a sound he doesn't recognize. Small, broken, caught between a gasp and a sob. I can't. The words scrape his throat. I can't close my legs. It hurts. The diner goes quiet. Not silent. The fryer still hisses. The jukebox still plays some old Motown song. But the conversations stop. Forks pause mid-air. Someone's chair scrapes against the floor as they turn to look. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Kael's vision blurs at the edges. The fluorescent lights overhead buzz too loud, and the smell of grease and coffee and something metallic coats the back of his tongue. He focuses on a crack in the tile near his left hand, follows the jagged line until it disappears beneath a table leg. Anything to avoid the eyes on him. The weight of them presses down like hands on his shoulders, pushing him further into the floor. Pathetic. His boss, Mr. Terrence, a man with a gut that hangs over his belt and a voice like gravel in a garbage disposal, steps closer. His shoes are brown loafers, scuffed at the toes. Kael watches them approach, counts the seconds between each step. 3, 2, 1. You want your paycheck this week? Get up. Kael's fingers curl against the tile. He wants to scream at the unfairness of it. Wants to tell Mr. Terrence that he worked a double shift yesterday, that he stayed late to cover for Maya when her kid got sick, that he's been standing for 6 hours straight today without a break because the lunch rush bled into the dinner crowd and there was no one else to take orders. He wants to say that the pain in his abdomen started 3 hours ago, dull at first, then sharp, then unbearable, that he asked to sit down, that Mr. Terrence said no. But Kael doesn't say any of that, because Mr. Terrence holds the paycheck. And the paycheck pays for Malik's school supplies. And Malik needs new sneakers because the soles of his old ones flapped open last week and Kael can't let his little brother walk around looking like that. So Kael grits his teeth and pushes. His knees straighten an inch, then 2. The movement sends a spike of agony through his pelvis that makes his vision white out for a second, and he sways, catches himself on the edge of the counter. His apron swings, and he feels the wetness there, warm, spreading. The door chimes. 3 men walk in. The air changes. Kael feels it before he sees them. A shift in pressure, like the moment before a thunderstorm when the sky goes green and the birds stop singing. The conversations that had started to pick up again die. Even Mr. Terrence goes still, his hand frozen halfway to Kael's shoulder. They're tall. All of them. Identical in a way that makes Kael's stomach turn because it's not natural the way they move in sync. Same dark suits tailored so sharp they could cut. Same slicked back hair, black as oil. Same cold eyes that sweep the diner like they're cataloging every cracked vinyl booth, every water-stained ceiling tile, every person who dares to breathe too loud. The one in the middle, his tie is burgundy instead of black, looks at Kael. Just looks. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't move. But his gaze lands on Kael's knees, still bent, still trembling, and then drags up to the stain on the apron. His expression doesn't change. That's what makes it worse. No surprise. No disgust. No pity. Just observation, clinical and detached, like Kael is an equation he's solving. Table for 3, the one on the left says. His voice is smooth, quiet. The kind of quiet that makes people lean in to hear. By the window. Mr. Terrence moves like someone yanked his strings. Right away, sirs. Kael, take there. He's bleeding. The one on the right speaks this time. His voice is identical to his brother's, but there's something underneath it, a vibration that Kael feels in his chest. Get someone else. Kael's breath stutters. He wants to argue, needs to argue, because if he doesn't take their table, Mr. Terrence will dock his pay, and Malik needs those sneakers, but his body won't let him. His legs are still locked, still shaking, and the wetness on his apron is dripping now. A slow pat-pat-pat onto the tile that sounds too loud in the silence. The man in the middle, the one with the burgundy tie, tilts his head. Just a fraction. His eyes narrow, not in anger, but in focus. Like he's seeing something the others aren't. "What's your name?" he asks. Kael's throat closes. He doesn't want to answer. Doesn't want this man to know anything about him. But his mouth opens anyway because that's what he does. He obeys. He survives. "Kael." The man nods once. Slow. Deliberate. Then he turns to his brothers, and they have a conversation without words. A glance, a shift in posture, something Kael can't decode. When the man in the burgundy tie looks back, his expression is still unreadable, but there's a tension in his jaw that wasn't there before. "Go home, Kael," he says. Mr. Terrence sputters. "Now wait just a..." The man on the left looks at Mr. Terrence. Doesn't say anything, just looks. And Mr. Terrence's mouth snaps shut so fast Kael hears his teeth click. "Go home," the man in the middle repeats, "before you bleed out on this floor." Kael doesn't remember walking to the back room. Doesn't remember untying his apron or grabbing his jacket from the hook by the freezer. He remembers the cold air outside, sharp and biting against his face. He remembers the bus ride, the way the seat pressed against the bruise on his hip and made him bite his tongue to keep from crying out. He remembers unlocking the apartment door and stumbling to the bathroom, peeling off his jeans to find the blood dark, clotted, worse than he thought. He remembers sitting on the edge of the tub, staring at the tile, and thinking, "I couldn't close my legs, not because I was weak, but because someone had decided my body didn't belong to me." His phone buzzes. Once, twice, 3 times. Kael picks it up with shaking hands. The screen is cracked, but he can still read the message. Unknown number. 3 words. "We're watching you." Should Kael go to the hospital, or is he too afraid of what they'll find? The hospital smells like disinfectant and desperation. Kael sits on a plastic chair in the waiting room, his jacket pulled tight around his shoulders even though the heat is cranked up too high. The fluorescent lights flicker above him, casting shadows that crawl across the scuffed linoleum. His phone is in his hand, screen dark now, but the message is burned into his brain. "We're watching you." He doesn't know who sent it, doesn't know if it's a threat or a warning or some sick joke. But his hands won't stop shaking. A nurse calls his name. She's older, with gray streaks in her hair and kind eyes that crinkle at the corners when she smiles. Kael doesn't smile back. He follows her down a hallway that's too bright, too clean, into a room with a paper-covered exam table and a poster on the wall about the dangers of smoking. She asks him questions he barely hears. When did the pain start? Has he experienced trauma? Is there anyone he wants to call? No, no, no. She leaves. A doctor comes in, young, tired, with a stethoscope slung around his neck like a noose. He presses cold fingers against Kael's abdomen, and Kael flinches so hard he nearly falls off the table. The doctor frowns, writes something on a clipboard, asks more questions. Kael gives him half-truths, fragments, enough to get through the exam without saying the words that will make it real. Internal bruising, possible infection, rest, medication, follow-up in 2 weeks. Kael takes the prescription and leaves before the doctor can ask anything else. Outside, the air is sharp and cold, and Kael breathes it in until his lungs burn. His phone buzzes again. He almost doesn't look, almost throws the damn thing into the gutter and walks away. But he looks. "You spoke. Now someone else will pay." His stomach drops. The medication bottle in his hand feels too heavy. He opens his messages, scrolls up to the last conversation he had. Malik, 2 hours ago. "Got detention again. Mr. Harris is a jerk. Can you pick me up at 4? Kael's fingers fly across the screen. "Where are you?" The three dots appear, disappear, appear again. Library. Why? Kael doesn't answer. He's already running. The bus stop is 2 blocks away, but he doesn't wait for the bus. He runs the whole way to Malik's school, his lungs screaming, his legs threatening to give out. The building is dark when he gets there, windows like black eyes staring down at him. The library is in the back, and Kael yanks open the door so hard it slams against the wall. Malik is there, sitting at a table, headphones on, bent over a math textbook. He looks up when Kael stumbles in, pulls the headphones down around his neck. "Yo, what's wrong with you?" Kael can't speak. His throat is too tight. He crosses the room in 3 strides, grabs Malik by the shoulders, runs his hands over his arms, his face, checking for bruises, for blood, for anything. "Kael, chill." Malik shoves him back, half laughing, half annoyed. "What's your problem?" "Nothing." The word comes out too fast. "Just let's go. Now." Malik frowns, but he packs his stuff. They walk home in silence, Kael checking over his shoulder every few steps. The apartment is empty when they get there, and Kael locks the door behind them, checks the windows, closes the blinds. "Seriously, what's going on?" Malik drops his backpack on the couch, crosses his arms. He's 14, all sharp angles and attitude, but there's worry in his eyes now. "You're acting weird." "I'm fine." Kael forces a smile. "Just a rough day. You eat yet?" Malik shakes his head. Kael goes to the kitchen, pulls out the last box of pasta from the cupboard. While the water boils, he checks his phone again. No new messages. He should feel relieved. He doesn't. They eat in front of the TV, some rerun of a sitcom Malik likes. Kael doesn't taste the food. He's too busy watching the door, listening for footsteps in the hallway, waiting for the phone to buzz again. It doesn't. Not until midnight, when Malik is asleep in the bedroom and Kael is curled on the couch, staring at the ceiling. The phone lights up on the coffee table, and Kael's chest tightens. Another message. Same unknown number. This time there's a photo. Malik, walking into the school library. Timestamp, 3:47 p.m. today. Below it, one sentence, "We know where he is. Always." Kael's hands shake so hard he drops the phone. It hits the floor with a crack, screen shattering, but the image is still there. Malik's face, clear as day, smiling, unaware. Kael doesn't sleep that night. In the morning, there's another message. This time, it's an address. Time. A single instruction. Come alone. Kael stares at it until his vision blurs. He knows what this is, knows what they want, but the alternative, ignoring it, pretending it's not real, means Malik pays. And Kael has spent his whole life making sure Malik never pays for anything Kael does. So he goes. What will Kael find when he walks through that door? The address leads to a building that doesn't belong. Kael stands on the sidewalk, staring up at glass and steel that reflects the gray sky back at him. It's downtown, wedged between a parking garage and a law office, the kind of place that looks expensive just to breathe near. The entrance is unmarked, just a heavy door with a keypad and a camera angled down at the street. Kael checks the address on his phone again. This is it. He hesitates. His instincts scream at him to turn around, to run, to grab Malik and disappear. But the photo is still burned into his mind. Malik's face, smiling, unaware that someone had been close enough to take it, close enough to hurt him. Kael presses the buzzer. The door clicks open before he can pull his hand back. No voice over the intercom, no confirmation, just the lock disengaging, inviting him in. The lobby is cold. Marble floors, white walls, a single desk with no one behind it. Kael's footsteps echo as he crosses to the elevator. The button for the basement is already lit. He steps inside, and the doors close with a soft hiss. The descent is smooth. Too smooth. Kael's stomach flips as the numbers tick down. B1, B2, B3, until the elevator shudders to a stop. The doors open. He's not prepared for what's on the other side. It's a lounge. Leather couches the color of charcoal. Low lighting that casts everything in amber. A bar in the corner stocked with bottles Kael doesn't recognize. The air smells like expensive cologne and something else. Smoke, maybe, or incense. There's music playing, soft jazz that drifts from speakers he can't see. And sitting in the center of the room, on a couch that probably costs more than Kael's rent, are the three men from the diner. The one in the middle, burgundy tie replaced with a black one today, looks up when Kael steps out of the elevator. He doesn't smile, doesn't frown, just watches as Kael forces himself to walk forward, legs stiff, hands clenched into fists at his sides. "Sit," the man says. Kael doesn't. "What do you want?" The man on the left, no tie today, just a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, leans back against the couch. "Manners, Kael. We invited you here. The least you can do is sit." "I don't want to sit." Kael's voice is steadier than he feels. "I want to know why you're following my brother." The third man, the one on the right with a scar that cuts through his eyebrow, tilts his head. "We're not following him. We're protecting him." Kael laughs. It's bitter, sharp, the kind of sound that scrapes his throat on the way out. "Protecting him? You sent me a picture of him at school. That's not protection. That's a threat. It's proof." The man in the middle stands, and Kael takes a step back instinctively. The man notices, stops, holds up his hands in a gesture that's supposed to be calming but just makes Kael's pulse spike. "Proof that we can see what you can't. That we know who's watching him. And it's not us." Kael's breath catches. "What are you talking about?" The man doesn't answer. Instead, he crosses to the bar, pours 2 fingers of something amber into a glass. He doesn't offer it to Kael. Just holds it, swirling the liquid like he's got all the time in the world. "You work at Terrence's diner. Minimum wage, no benefits, tips pooled and skimmed off the top. You take double shifts because your little brother needs school supplies. You live in a 1-bedroom apartment in the South Side, rent 3 months overdue. You owe money to people who don't forgive debt." Kael's hands start to shake. "How do you?" "We know everything, Kael." The man takes a sip, sets the glass down with a soft clink. "We know your boss has been shorting your paychecks. We know you've been taking painkillers to get through shifts because you can't afford to call in sick. We know what happened to you 2 nights ago." The room tilts. Kael grabs the back of a chair to steady himself. "You don't know anything. We know enough." The man on the left stands now, moves to stand beside his brother. They're so identical it's disorienting. Same height, same build, same eyes that don't blink enough. "We know you didn't go to the police. You didn't tell anyone. You just showed up to work the next day like nothing happened. Because I didn't have a choice." The words come out raw, scraped from somewhere deep in Kael's chest. "I need that job. Malik needs you alive." The third man speaks for the first time since Kael sat down. His voice is quieter than his brother's, but it cuts just as deep. "And right now you're not. You're bleeding internally. You're taking medication that's masking symptoms, not treating them. You're 1 bad shift away from collapsing, and when you do, who takes care of him?" Kael's knees buckle. He sinks into the chair, hands pressed against his face. He wants to argue, wants to tell them they're wrong, that he's fine, that he can handle it. But the truth sits heavy in his chest, and he's so tired of carrying it alone. "Why do you care?" His voice is muffled, broken. "You don't know me. You don't owe me anything." The man in the middle crouches down, eye level with Kael. Up close, his eyes are a shade of gray that looks almost silver in the low light. "We don't owe you, but we recognize you." Kael looks up. "What does that mean?" The man's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. Something that might be understanding, or pity, or something Kael doesn't have a name for. "It means we know what it looks like when someone's been taught to disappear. And we know who teaches those lessons." Kael's breath stops. The room is too quiet. Even the jazz has faded, leaving just the sound of his heartbeat pounding in his ears. The man stands, straightens his tie. "We're not here to hurt you, Kael. We're here to offer you a choice." "What choice?" "Walk away from the diner. From the debt. From the people who think they own you. The man's voice is calm, steady, like he's discussing the weather. We'll handle the rest. Kael shakes his head. I can't just. You can. The man on the left steps closer. We'll relocate you, set you up somewhere safe. Get Malik into a better school. Cover your expenses until you're back on your feet. Sounds too good. Too easy. Kael's learned the hard way that nothing comes without a price. What do you want in return? The man in the middle smiles. It's small, barely there, but it changes his whole face. Makes him look almost human. Nothing you're not already willing to give. Kael's stomach twists. I don't understand. You will. The man turns, walks back to the couch. But first you need to decide. Are you ready to stop disappearing? Kael opens his mouth, closes it. The weight of the question settles over him like a blanket, suffocating and warm all at once. He thinks of Malik, asleep in their apartment, unaware of how close the world came to swallowing them whole. He thinks of the diner, of Mr. Terrence's sneer, of the pain that wakes him up every morning and follows him to bed every night. He thinks of the message, we're watching you. And he realizes they're not the only ones. I have one condition, Kael says. The man raises an eyebrow. Go on. Don't touch my brother. The man's smile widens. Just a fraction. Deal. What price will Kael really have to pay for their protection? The apartment they give him has windows that actually close. Kael stands in the middle of the living room, staring at furniture that doesn't sag, at walls that aren't water-stained, at a kitchen with a stove that has all 4 burners working. It's on the north side of the city, in a building with a doorman and an elevator that doesn't smell like piss. Malik is in the bedroom, unpacking his clothes into a dresser that's bigger than their old couch. This is insane, Malik calls out. There's a bathroom attached to the bedroom. Like, just for us. Kael doesn't answer. He's still trying to process the last 72 hours. The meeting in the basement. The paperwork that appeared the next morning, lease agreement, bank statements showing a balance that made Kael's chest tighten. Enrollment forms for a private school 3 blocks away. The movers who showed up at their old apartment and packed everything without asking questions. The car that drove them here, windows tinted so dark Kael couldn't see out. And through it all, the 3 men. Always there. Never intrusive. Just present. The one in the middle, Kael learned his name is Darius. Stopped by yesterday. Didn't stay long. Just handed Kael a phone, new and sleek, with 1 number programmed in. If you need anything, Darius said, or if anything feels wrong, call. Kael hasn't called. But the phone is in his pocket now, a weight he's hyper-aware of. A knock at the door makes him jump. Malik pokes his head out of the bedroom. You expecting someone? Kael shakes his head. Crosses to the door. Looks through the peephole. It's the brother with the scar. Elijah, Kael thinks, though he's not sure. The man is alone, hands in his pockets, expression unreadable. Kael hesitates, then unlocks the door. Hey! Elijah's voice is softer than Kael expected. Can I come in? Kael steps aside. Elijah enters, glances around the apartment with the same detached observation he had at the diner. His eyes land on Malik, who's now hovering in the bedroom doorway, suspicious and protective all at once. Who's this? Malik asks. A friend, Kael says before he can think better of it. Elijah raises an eyebrow but doesn't correct him. I brought food. Figured you guys might not have had time to go grocery shopping yet. He holds up a bag Kael hadn't noticed, paper crinkling. The smell of Chinese takeout drifts out, and Kael's stomach growls despite himself. Malik's suspicion wavers. What kind? Lo mein. Fried rice. Some kind of chicken thing. Elijah sets the bag on the counter. And spring rolls, because everyone likes spring rolls. Malik drifts closer, still wary, but hunger wins out. He starts unpacking the containers, and Kael watches, torn between gratitude and unease. This is too normal. Too easy. People like Elijah don't just show up with takeout unless they want something. Can I talk to you? Elijah nods toward the balcony. Kael follows him outside. The city sprawls below them, lights flickering on as the sun sets. It's cold, and Kael didn't grab a jacket, but he doesn't go back inside. Elijah leans against the railing, silent for a long moment. "How are you feeling?" he asks finally. "Fine. Liar." Elijah doesn't look at him. "You've been holding your side since I walked in. The meds help." Kael's jaw tightens. "Why do you care?" "Because I asked." Elijah turns now, and his eyes are sharp, cutting through Kael's defenses like a blade. "And because I know what it's like to pretend you're fine when you're not." Kael wants to argue, wants to tell him to mind his own business. But there's something in Elijah's voice, something raw and honest, that makes the words die in his throat. "They help," Kael says quietly. "The meds." "A little." Elijah nods. "Good. You'll need them." "For what?" "For the next part." Elijah straightens, crosses his arms. "We need to talk about what happened at the diner and before." Kael's chest tightens. "I don't want to talk about it." "I know. But you need to." Elijah's voice is firm but not unkind. "Because the people who did this, they're not going to stop. Not unless we stop them. And we can't do that if you don't tell us who they are." Kael's breath comes faster. His hands grip the railing so hard his knuckles go white. "I don't know who they are." "Yes, you do." Elijah steps closer. "You might not know their names, but you know their faces. You know where it happened. You know enough." Kael shakes his head. "It doesn't matter. Even if I tell you, even if you arrest them, they'll just come back. Or someone else will. That's how it works." "Not this time." Elijah's voice drops, and there's something in it that makes Kael's skin prickle. "This time, they don't come back. Ever." Kael looks at him. Really looks. Elijah's face is calm, almost serene, but his eyes are cold. Not cruel. Just empty. Like he's already decided what's going to happen and nothing Kael says will change it. "What are you?" Kael whispers. Elijah smiles. The small, sad. "Someone who knows what it's like to be powerless. And someone who decided a long time ago that I'd never let anyone feel that way again if I could stop it." Kael's throat tightens. He wants to believe him. Wants to believe that someone out there actually gives a damn. But belief is a luxury Kael can't afford. "I need time," Kael says. "You have it." Elijah turns back to the city. "But not forever. The longer we wait, the harder this gets." They stand in silence, the cold air biting at Kael's skin. Inside, Malik is laughing at something on his phone, the sound muffled but warm. Kael clings to it, lets it anchor him. "Who taught you to disappear?" Elijah asks suddenly. Kael blinks. "What?" "It's something Darius said, after we saw you at the diner. He said you looked like someone who'd been taught to disappear." Elijah glances at him. "So who taught you?" Kael's chest aches. The answer is too big, too complicated. It's every adult who looked the other way. Every system that failed. Every moment he learned that staying small, staying quiet, staying invisible was the only way to survive. "Everyone," Kael says finally. "Everyone taught me." Elijah's expression softens. "Just a fraction. Then it's time you learned something new." He pushes off the railing, heads back inside. Kael stays on the balcony, watching the city lights blur together. His phone buzzes in his pocket. He pulls it out, expecting a message from Darius or one of the brothers. It's not. Unknown number. Different from before. The message is short, brutal. "You think moving will save you? We own you, and we're coming to collect." Kael's hands shake. He looks through the glass door at Malik, at Elijah leaning against the counter, at the life that's supposed to be safe now. And he realizes they're not safe. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But for the first time, Kael's not facing it alone. How far will Kael go to protect the only family he has left? The school is everything Malik deserves. Kael stands outside the gates, watching students in crisp uniforms file through. Brick buildings, green lawns, a courtyard with benches where kids actually sit and read instead of dealing or fighting. It's the kind of place Kael used to walk past and imagine, back when imagining felt safe. Malik is inside now, First day. Kael wanted to walk him in, but Malik rolled his eyes and told him to stop being weird. "I'm not a kid," he said. Backpack slung over one shoulder, chin up like he owned the world. But Kael saw the nerves underneath. Saw the way Malik's hands fidgeted with his jacket zipper. The way he glanced back twice before disappearing through the doors. Kael's phone buzzes. He expects another threat, another reminder that he's not as free as he thinks. But it's Darius. "Coffee? There's a place 2 blocks from you." Kael almost says no. He should go home, unpack the rest of the boxes, figure out how to exist in a space that doesn't feel like his. But the apartment is too quiet, and the silence makes the fear louder. So he texts back. Address? The coffee shop is small, tucked between a bookstore and a dry cleaner. The kind of place with mismatched chairs and chalkboard menus and baristas who look like they're 1 espresso shot away from a poetry slam. Darius is already there, sitting in the back corner with 2 cups in front of him. He nods when Kael walks in. "Black coffee," Darius says, sliding 1 cup across the table. "Figured you for the no-nonsense type." Kael sits, takes a sip. The strong, bitter, exactly what he needs. "Why am I here?" "Because you need to eat." Darius pushes a muffin toward him. "Blueberry." "And because I wanted to check in." "I'm fine." "You're a terrible liar." Darius leans back, studies him. "How's Malik settling in?" "He's good. Nervous, but good." Kael picks at the muffin. "The schools? It's a lot. He'll adjust. Kids are resilient." Darius pauses. "You, on the other hand." Kael looks up. "What about me?" "You're waiting for the other shoe to drop." Darius's voice is matter-of-fact, not unkind. "You're waiting for us to tell you what we really want. Or for someone to kick down the door and drag you back. Or for Malik to get hurt because you dared to want something better." Kael's throat tightens. "Aren't you going to tell me I'm wrong?" "No." Darius takes a sip of his coffee. "Because you're not. The shoe is going to drop. Someone is going to try to hurt you. And we are going to ask you for something." Kael's stomach twists. "Then why the hell did you help me?" "Because what we're asking for isn't what you think." Darius sets his cup down, leans forward. "We're not asking you to owe us. We're asking you to trust us." "That's the same thing." "It's not." Darius's eyes are steady, unflinching. "Owing us means you're a transaction, a debt to be paid. Trusting us means you're a partner. Someone we invest in because we believe in what you can become." Kael laughs, bitter and sharp. "And what's that? What do you think I can become?" "Free." The word lands like a punch. You can become someone who isn't afraid anymore. Someone who doesn't have to disappear just to survive. Kael looks away. The weight of it is too much. He spent so long being small, being invisible, that the idea of being anything else feels impossible. "What if I don't know how?" "Then we'll teach you." Darius's voice softens. "But first, you have to make a choice." Kael's chest tightens. "What choice?" Darius pulls out a folder. Sets it on the table between them. "We need you to identify the men who hurt you. Give us names, descriptions, anything you remember. We'll take care of the rest." Kael stares at the folder like it's a bomb. "And if I say no?" "Then we respect that. You stay here. Malik stays safe. We leave you alone." Darius's expression doesn't change. "But the men who hurt you, they don't stop. They find someone else. And that someone else doesn't have us watching their back." The guilt is immediate, crushing. Kael knows what Darius is doing. Knows he's being manipulated, pushed into a corner where the only right choice is the one they want him to make. But knowing doesn't make it easier. "I need time," Kael says. "You have 24 hours. Darius stands, leaves cash on the table for the coffee. "After that, we move on. With or without you." He walks out, and Kael is left alone with the folder and the muffin he can't eat. He opens the folder. Inside are photos, grainy, taken from security cameras. The diner, the alley behind it. Faces he recognizes. Faces that make his hands shake and his breath catch. He closes the folder. Shoves it into his bag. Walks home in a daze. When he gets back to the apartment, Malik is already there, sprawled on the couch with his backpack tossed on the floor. He looks up when Kael walks in, grins. Yo, this school is crazy. They have a robotics lab. Like actual robots. Kael forces a smile. That's great, man. Malik's grin fades. You okay? Yeah. Kael drops his bag by the door. Just tired. Malik doesn't buy it, but he doesn't push. He goes back to scrolling on his phone, and Kael sinks into the chair across from him. He watches his brother, really watches him. The way Malik's shoulders have relaxed in the last few days. The way he laughs easier, sleeps better, looks less like he's bracing for impact every second. And Kael thinks, I'd do anything to keep him like this.
His phone buzzes. Unknown number. His stomach drops before he even looks. Tick-tock, Kael. Time's running out. He deletes the message. But his hands are shaking when he picks up the folder again. He opens it. Stares at the faces. And he makes his choice. At 11 p.m., Kael texts Darius. 3 words. I'll do it. The response comes immediately. Good. We'll handle the rest. One condition, don't touch my brother. Kael stares at the screen. Realizes what Darius just did. Realizes the promise he's making isn't just about protection. It's about trust. About partnership. About believing that Kael's condition, don't touch Malik, is just as sacred to them as their mission is. Kael texts back. Deal. He sets the phone down. Looks at Malik, still sprawled on the couch, still safe, still whole. And for the first time in his life, Kael lets himself believe that maybe, just maybe, they're going to make it. The phone buzzes one more time. Kael expects confirmation from Darius. But it's not. It's a photo. Malik. Leaving school today. Same angle as before. Same timestamp. Same threat. And below it, a message that makes Kael's blood run cold. We told you. We own you. And tomorrow, we collect. Will Kael's choice save Malik, or doom them both? The jacket arrives in a box. Kael doesn't hear the knock. Doesn't see who leaves it on the doorstep. He just opens the door to take out the trash and there it is, brown cardboard, no label, no return address. His hands shake as he brings it inside, sets it on the kitchen counter. Malik is at school. The apartment is silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and Kael's breathing, too fast, too shallow. He knows what's inside before he opens it. The cardboard tears easy. Inside, wrapped in plastic like something precious, is Malik's jacket. The blue one with the white stripes down the sleeves, the one Malik wore yesterday. The one he said he lost at school and shrugged about because it was old anyway and who cares. The blood is fresh. Still wet in places, soaked into the fabric until it's black instead of red. Kael's knees give out. He hits the floor hard, the box tumbling from his hands. The jacket spills across the tile, and Kael can't breathe, can't think, can't do anything except stare at the stains and know that this is real. His phone is in his hand before he realizes he's moving. He calls Malik's school. The receptionist answers on the 3rd ring, her voice cheerful and oblivious. Northbridge Academy, how can I help you? I need to speak to Malik Johnson. Now. Kael's voice cracks. It's an emergency. I'm sorry, sir, students can't be called out of class unless. Get him. Now. Kael is shaking so hard the phone almost slips. Please. There's a pause. Then, hold on. The seconds stretch. Kael counts them. 10. 20. 30. Each one is a knife in his chest. Then. Kael? Malik's voice, confused and annoyed. What's wrong? They pulled me out of chemistry. The relief hits so hard Kael doubles over. You're okay. Where are you right now? In the office. Seriously, what's going on? Stay there. Don't move. I'm coming to get you. Kael is already grabbing his keys, his jacket. Don't go anywhere. Don't talk to anyone. Just stay. Kael, you're freaking me out. Please, Malik. Just trust me. He hangs up. Runs. The school is 15 minutes away, but Kael makes it an 8. He's shaking when he walks into the office, and the receptionist gives him a look like he's crazy. Malik is sitting in a chair by the window, backpack at his feet, confusion written all over his face. Let's go, Kael says. What? I have 2 more classes. Now. Malik's eyes narrow, but he stands. They walk out together, and Kael doesn't breathe easy until they're in the car, doors locked, driving away. Malik keeps asking questions. What happened? Why are we leaving? What's going on? But Kael can't answer. Not yet. Not until they're somewhere safe. Except nowhere feels safe anymore. Kael drives to the only place he can think of. The address Darius gave him. The building downtown. He parks in the garage, takes Malik by the arm, and leads him to the elevator. Malik stops fighting, stops asking, just follows with wide eyes that remind Kael how young he still is. The basement lounge is empty except for Darius. He's standing by the bar, phone to his ear, but he hangs up the second he sees Kael's face. What happened? Kael pulls out the jacket. Throws it on the couch. The blood has started to dry, stiff and dark. Darius looks at it. Then at Kael. Then at Malik, who's gone pale and silent. Is that? Malik's voice is barely a whisper. Is that mine? It was delivered to the apartment. Kael's voice is flat, empty. An hour ago. Darius picks up the jacket. Examines it with the same clinical detachment he uses for everything. This isn't Malik's blood. Kael's head snaps up. What? It's too much. And the pattern's wrong. This is from an animal. Probably a pig. Darius sets the jacket down. They're trying to scare you. It's working. Kael's legs give out again. He sinks onto the couch, head in his hands. They know where we live. They know where Malik goes to school. They know everything. They know what we let them know. Darius pulls out his phone, types something. This ends tonight. How? Kael looks up. How does this end? Darius's expression is ice. We burn them down. What will Darius do to protect them, and what will it cost? The warehouse smells like rust and gasoline. Kael stands in the shadows, watching. Darius told him to stay in the car. Told him this wasn't something he needed to see. But Kael followed anyway, because he needs to know. Needs to understand what he's agreed to. The men are tied to chairs in the center of the room. 3 of them. Kael recognizes 2 from the diner, the ones who watched, who laughed, who did nothing when Kael hit the floor. The third is older, balding, with a scar across his cheek that makes his sneer permanent. He's the one talking. You don't know who you're messing with, the man spits. Blood drips from his split lip. You think this is over? We're part of something bigger. You touch us, you touch the whole network. Elijah circles him slowly. The network. You mean the one that moves kids through foster care? The one that uses debt to trap workers? The one that owns half the diners and motels in this city? The man's sneer wavers. You can't prove that. We don't need to. The third brother, Marcus, Kael learned his name earlier, steps forward. He's holding a laptop, screen angled toward the man. We have your records. Bank transfers. Property deeds. Names of every person you've sold to or bought from. We have everything. The man's face goes white. Here's what's going to happen, Darius says. His voice is calm, conversational, like he's discussing dinner plans. You're going to give us the rest of the network. Every name. Every location. Every child you've moved in the last 5 years. And if I don't? Marcus closes the laptop. Then we release everything we have to the feds. To the press. To every person you've ever screwed over. And we make sure everyone knows it was you who talked. The man's jaw works. He looks at his partners, then back at Darius. You're bluffing. Try me. Darius leans in close. You have 10 seconds to decide. The man breaks at 7. He talks. Names, dates, locations spill out of him like water from a cracked dam. Marcus types it all into the laptop, cross-references it with files Kael didn't know existed. Elijah makes calls, quiet and efficient, to people Kael can't see. And Kael watches. Watches the man who hurt him reduced to a whimpering mess. Watches the system that trapped him crumble under the weight of its own corruption. Watches Darius and his brothers dismantle an empire with the precision of surgeons. But it's not enough. Because halfway through, the man mentions the kids. The ones already placed. The ones in homes that aren't homes, with people who aren't people. And Kael's chest caves in. Where are they? Kael steps out of the shadows. His voice shakes, but he doesn't care. The kids. Where are they now? The man looks at him. Recognition flickers in his eyes, followed by fear. I don't know all of them. They're scattered. Different states. Different. Where's the closest one? Kael moves closer. His hands are fists at his sides. Tell me. The man hesitates. Darius nods. The man gives an address. Kael is out the door before anyone can stop him. The house is in the suburbs. Cookie-cutter perfect, with a manicured lawn and a minivan in the driveway. Kael parks down the street, watching. A woman comes out, drags a trash can to the curb. She's smiling. Normal. But Kael knows better. Knows that normal is a mask people wear to hide monsters. He calls Darius. I'm at the address. What do I do? You wait. Darius's voice is tight. We're on our way. Don't do anything stupid. But Kael sees the kid. A boy, maybe 7, standing in the window. He's small, too small, with hollow eyes that Kael recognizes because he's seen them in the mirror. And Kael can't wait. Can't let that kid spend one more second in that house. He gets out of the car. Walks to the door. Knocks. The woman answers, smile still in place. Can I help you? I'm here about the boy. Kael's voice is steady, cold. The one in the window. The woman's smile freezes. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. Kael steps closer. And you're going to let me see him? Or I'm calling the police right now. The woman's eyes flicker. She glances over her shoulder, then back at Kael. You need to leave. Not without him. The door slams in his face. Kael hears the lock click. He pulls out his phone, dials 911, but before he can speak, the door opens again. This time it's a man. Tall, broad, with hands like hammers. You got a problem? The man asks. Kael doesn't answer. Doesn't back down. Just stares until the man's confidence cracks. We're licensed foster parents, the man says. Everything we do is legal. Then you won't mind if I wait here until the police arrive. The man's jaw tightens. He steps back. Slams the door again. Kael hears shouting inside, the woman's voice shrill and panicked. Then silence. Kael waits. 5 minutes. 10. Then Darius pulls up, Elijah and Marcus right behind him. They don't ask questions. Just walk to the door, and this time when Darius knocks, the door opens. The boy is standing there. Small, shaking, but alive. Darius crouches down, eye level with him. "You're safe now," he says. "We're going to take you somewhere better." The boy doesn't speak. Just nods. And Kael realizes, this is what it costs. Not money. Not loyalty. But the willingness to see the horror and do something about it, no matter how hard it is. How many more children will they have to save before this nightmare ends? The courtroom is colder than Kael expected. He sits in the back row, hands folded in his lap, watching the proceedings unfold. The prosecutor is a woman with sharp eyes and sharper words, laying out the case with precision. Financial records. Testimonies. Evidence that took months to compile but feels like it happened in days. Darius and his brothers sit 3 rows ahead, silent and still, their presence a promise that this isn't over until it's over. The defendants sit at the front table. The man from the warehouse. The woman from the house. Others Kael doesn't recognize but knows are guilty. They're all wearing suits now, cleaned up and respectable, but Kael sees through it. Sees the rot underneath. The judge calls for order. The trial begins. Kael watches as victim after victim takes the stand. Foster kids, now grown, telling stories that make the gallery gasp. Workers from the diners and motels, describing the debt traps, the threats, the violence. Each testimony is a nail in the coffin, and Kael feels something in his chest loosen with every word. Then the prosecutor calls his name. Kael stands on shaking legs. Walks to the stand. The bailiff swears him in, and Kael sits, facing the courtroom. Facing the people who hurt him. "Mr. Johnson," the prosecutor says. "Can you tell the court what happened on the night of October 14th? Kael's throat tightens. He looks at Darius, who nods once. Steady. Calm. And Kael starts to talk. He tells them about the diner. About the pain. About the floor and the blood and the men who watched. He tells them about the hospital, the threats, the fear that followed him like a shadow. He tells them everything. The defense attorney tries to poke holes in his story. Asks why he didn't go to the police. Why he waited so long. Why he's only coming forward now. But Kael doesn't flinch. Just answers each question with the truth, raw and unfiltered. When he's done, the courtroom is silent. The judge thanks him. Kael steps down, legs shaking, and returns to his seat. Darius is waiting. He doesn't say anything. Just puts a hand on Kael's shoulder, and that's enough. The trial lasts 3 more days. The jury deliberates for 4 hours. When they return, the verdict is unanimous. Guilty. On all counts. The courtroom erupts. Some people cheer. Others cry. Kael just sits, numb and exhausted, watching as the defendants are led away in handcuffs. It's over. It's finally over. But then the prosecutor approaches. Her expression is somber. "Mr. Johnson, there's something you need to know." Kael's chest tightens. "What?" "Your brother. Malik." She hesitates. "We found his name in the records. He was on a list. A target." The world tilts. "What are you talking about?" "The network was planning to take him. Use him as leverage against you." The prosecutor's voice is gentle. "But because of what you did, coming forward, helping us build this case, we were able to stop it before it happened."
Kael can't breathe. Can't process. Malik was a target. Could have been taken. Could have been. Is he safe? Kael's voice cracks. He's safe. We've placed protection on him. He doesn't know. The prosecutor touches his arm. You saved him, Mr. Johnson. You saved a lot of people. But Kael doesn't feel like a hero. He feels like he's been drowning for years and only just broke the surface. That night, Kael sits in the apartment, staring at the wall. Malik is asleep in the bedroom, unaware of how close he came to being swallowed whole. Kael's phone buzzes. A text from Darius. "Meet us tomorrow." "There's someone we want you to meet." Kael doesn't ask who, just texts back, "Okay." He goes to the bedroom, stands in the doorway watching Malik sleep. His little brother looks peaceful, safe, whole. And Kael lets himself cry for the first time in months. Not from fear, not from pain, but from relief. They made it. Against all odds, they made it. But the cost was everything Kael had. And he's not sure who he is without the fear that's defined him for so long. Can Kael find himself again after everything he's lost? The building is different this time. It's not downtown, not sleek glass and marble. It's an old brownstone on the edge of the city, with ivy crawling up the sides and a garden out front where kids are playing. Kael hears their laughter before he sees them. High and bright, the kind of sound that doesn't exist in places where fear lives. Darius meets him at the door. "Come on. I want you to see something." Inside, the house is warm. Wood floors, soft lighting, furniture that looks lived in instead of staged. There are drawings on the walls, crayon stick figures and lopsided houses, and the smell of something baking drifts from the kitchen. A woman appears. She's older, with gray hair pulled back in a bun and a smile that crinkles her whole face. "You must be Kael. I'm Mrs. Ashford. Welcome." Kael shakes her hand, confused. "What is this place?" "A home," she says simply, "for kids who need one." Darius leads him through the house, shows him bedrooms with bunk beds and toy chests, a classroom where a tutor is helping a girl with her homework, a living room where kids are playing video games and arguing over whose turn it is. It's chaos, but it's good chaos, the kind that comes from safety. "We've been working on this for years," Darius says, "buying properties, hiring staff, creating spaces where kids can heal." He pauses. "Your testimony helped us shut down the network, but this is what we're building in its place." Kael's chest tightens. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because we want you to be part of it." Darius turns to face him. "You know what it's like. You've lived it. You could help these kids in ways we can't." Kael looks around, at the kids laughing, at Mrs. Ashford reading to a boy on the couch, at the drawings on the walls, and he thinks about Malik, about the life they're building, about the fact that he spent so long just surviving, he forgot what it's like to actually live. "I don't know if I can," Kael says quietly. "You don't have to decide now." Darius's voice is gentle. "But think about it. You've already saved more lives than you know. Imagine what you could do if you kept going." Kael nods. He doesn't commit. But he doesn't say no either. That night, he sits with Malik on the couch. They're watching some show Malik picked, and Malik is talking about school, about the robotics team, about a girl he likes but won't admit to liking. And Kael listens. Really listens. Because this moment right here is everything he fought for. "Hey," Malik says suddenly. "You've been different lately." Kael looks at him. "Different how?" "I don't know. Less scared, I guess." Malik shrugs. "It's good. You seem lighter." Kael's throat tightens. "Yeah, I guess I am." He thinks about Mrs. Ashford's house, about the kids there, about the fact that he could spend the rest of his life hiding from what happened, or he could turn it into something that matters. He thinks about the choice he made to speak up, to fight back, to refuse to disappear. And he realizes he's not done yet. The next morning, Kael texts Darius. "I'm in." What will Kael's new mission become? 6 months later, Kael stands in the garden. The spring now. The flowers Mrs. Ashford planted are blooming. Bright reds and yellows that make the whole yard look like a painting. Kids are running around, chasing each other, their laughter cutting through the afternoon air. Kael watches them, a clipboard in his hand, checking off names as they file inside for dinner. He works here now, started part-time, then full. Darius helped him get certified, helped him figure out how to turn his trauma into something useful. It's hard. Some days, Kael looks at these kids and sees himself, scared, broken, trying to hold it together. But that's why he's good at this. Because he knows. He understands. One of the kids, a girl named Amara, 7 years old with braids and a missing front tooth, tugs on his sleeve. "Mr. Kael, Can you read me a story before bed? Kael smiles. Only if you eat all your vegetables. She makes a face but nods. Runs off to join the others. Kael watches her go, and something in his chest settles. This is it. This is what he was fighting for all along. Not just survival but a life worth living. Malik visits every weekend. He's doing well. Made the robotics team. Got a girlfriend he finally admitted to having. He talks about college now, about engineering programs, about a future that feels real instead of impossible. And Kael listens, proud and grateful and still a little scared. Because fear doesn't just disappear. But it's manageable now. It doesn't control him anymore. Darius stops by in the evening. He, Elijah, and Marcus have expanded the network. More houses, more kids saved, more lives rebuilt. They're not perfect, but they're trying. And that's enough. How are you holding up? Darius asks. Good. Kael means it. Really good. They stand together in the garden, watching the sun set. The sky turns orange and pink, and the kids' voices drift through the open windows. It's peaceful. Safe. Everything Kael never thought he'd have. You ever think about what you'd tell yourself? Darius asks. If you could go back to that night at the diner. Kael considers it. I tell myself it gets better, that the pain doesn't last forever, that there are people who will fight for you if you let them. Darius nods. Good answer. Kael looks at the house, at the kids inside, at the life he's built from the ashes of everything that tried to destroy him. And he thinks about Malik safe, happy, whole, about the kids he mentors, about the future that's no longer a dream but a reality. I never got my brother back, Kael says quietly, but I made sure no one else would have to lose theirs. And for the first time in his life, Kael feels free. Thank you so much for watching this story. If it touched your heart, inspired you, or made you think differently, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next upload. We share stories that matter. Stories that heal, that challenge, and that remind us we're not alone. Drop a comment below and tell us what this story meant to you. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Together, we can build a community that uplifts, supports, and inspires. See you in the next one.